Hello! Welcome back. Today we are going to be ranking all 4 classes in the Outriders demo in terms of fun. This is a looter shooter. You're supposed to be having fun, so let's check it out, take a deep dive. In order to make this make any sense, I've created a graph measuring important metrics that I value when I'm playing Outriders. If you don't appreciate graphs and charts, that's fine, but you're wrong, and I hate you. Just kidding. Come on. Please remember these are just my opinions. If you disagree, that's totally cool. Let me know in the comments as to why. Let's get started with the Devastator. We're going to begin with my most fun pick, number 4. I'm trying really hard not to trash this character. I really like the Devastator. I feel as though the Devastator is just far too powerful in the early game in all facets of gameplay, including combat, sustainability, as well as incredible team play. This character offers the ability to go full tank, and if you need a tank, you need a tank. There's no replacing a bullet sponge, and that is exactly what this character can do. I personally am not the biggest fan of playing a tank. I know it sounds weird. The biggest issue for me is that the tank class usually isn't supposed to be a class that it's also capable of pumping out massive sustained damage, and that's exactly what Devastator is. This isn't a bad problem to have, right? There's a fine line between broken fun and broken snooze fest, because you just murder everything and you're unkillable. Let's take a look at my super scientifically accurate and definitely well-researched graph that I've composed here. As you can see, I have thoroughly vetted all of the most important factors which go into an Outriders character. There's really no arguing with this. This is where, if you want to fight with me on the comment section of what's important in this game, then this is what we're going to fight about. As you can see, the skill floor there is 0, and that's the main reason why I do not rate Devastator that fun. It's incredibly important for me to feel a challenge when I play any game. If I'm raffle stomping enemies, especially in PvE, then it's not that tight. I think if you're playing PvP and you're just slapping around a bunch of noobs, great, have fun. But in PvE, when I'm fighting monsters and AI, I like a challenge. This guy, you can put on basically 0 gear and be nearly impossible to kill through your golem and your shield abilities. Another complaint I have about the Devastator is the lack of permutations of combos. I'm a big fan of combos. It feels very rewarding when you can string together moves that all compound strength when you utilize them correctly and timing them perfectly. Looking at you, Pyro. The Devastator has 4 different abilities you can choose from, and each and every single one of them works perfectly independent of the other. If you need a shield, you got a shield. If you need to not die, you have your golem. If you need to do damage and interrupt, earthquake maneuver. If you want to get out of combat or get into combat, you have your comet leap, which, oh, by the way, also does damage. TLDR, Devastator, incredibly powerful. Not my favorite. In fact, my least fun pick. I think it's a good sign that a character I actively enjoy playing is still ranked my least favorite. Number 3 is the Technomancer. Technomancer has a lot of the same issues that the Devastator has. It is incredibly strong in the early game. I do not see that changing in the late game. The Technomancer is absolutely the jack of all trades. Depending on how you spec her out, the Technomancer is capable of doing insane damage, ridiculous sustain, and it can also heal teammates, plus crowd control from the cryo turret. Technomancer gets plus points for having his melee and his abilities do cryo damage. Cryo damage and freezing are inherently badass. The Technomancer and the Devastator are definitely the easiest characters to play fresh out of the box. It's incredibly powerful no matter what you do with it. There's a minimal skill floor. You don't really have to learn anything. You sort of throw your turrets, you throw your abilities, they do damage, they help you get health. You have caked in life leech. You have some swag with the blighted rounds. I don't know how much skill ceiling there is because, again, most of your moves are set it and forget it. Technomancer does get some points on her skill floor because you can very easily throw your turrets precisely, exactly, perfectly where you don't want them, where they do absolutely nothing, shoot no enemies, and just make you reevaluate all of your life choices. The main reason I scored the Technomancer as more fun than the Devastator is because there is versatility with this character. There are numerous build options, and I know this is only going to expand as the game reaches full release. You absolutely have the ability to become a medic type of character where you're healing yourself and your allies. You can go full damage and spec toxic build like I've showcased in a previous video, or you can focus on crowd control with your cryo turret and freezing everybody that wants to mess with you, or just go full damage and utilize your skills, including the Packet Rackets pain launcher, to just pump out damage. That to me is important. I like the versatility and specialization of the Technomancer. I like to feel some duress. I want to feel the heat. Never a sweat with the Techno or the Devastator. Never a sweat. Something else to consider is the Technomancer gets a damage buff for, my opinion, the least fun weapon class in the game. That's right, sniper rifles. That is not my jam. They can be fun to use occasionally with your quickscope practice, but overall, not how I want to be playing my characters. I'd prefer to be at short range or mid range. If you didn't look at the timestamps to cheat, congratulations, you are just now finding out the second spot on the most fun playlist is the Pyromancer. This is going to break a lot of hearts. The Pyromancer is seemingly the internet bae. Everybody loves the Pyro. I do too. The Pyromancer is incredibly fun, but for me, the Trickster holds the top spot. Let's go over the reasons why. The Pyromancer gets a lot of goodwill because it is, without question, the hardest character to play in the demo so far. It is not even a contest. I think that this character has both the highest skill floor and the highest skill ceiling. It also gains points because there are various different ways you can spec this character out depending on what you like to do and how you like to play. I've done different videos on different build options for the Pyro. One of my favorites was the glass cannon build. That's just the tried and true meta with any sort of caster, and the Pyromancer is no different. You can make this character melt your enemies with a quickness. Maxing out your anomaly power to maximize the damage output of your skills is part of the glass cannon build, and I would recommend that only if you plan on playing with friends frequently or if you're really good at this game. If you find yourself playing alone and you're not that great at it, or you don't have a lot of time to commit to learning all the things, go for a Feed the Flame sustain build. That is the way you're going to live. If you don't have friends, you are absolutely going to struggle with the glass cannon build, and that is why the self-sustain on the chart here is going to be at half power. You can either go 0 or or 100 with Feed the Flame so you can leech that health. My absolute favorite part of the Pyromancer. Bar none, there is no character in the game that rewards you so mightily for successfully pulling off combos. This character is the combo master. You will feel ecstatic every single time you make your thermal bomb pop and detonate on enemies in close proximity. It does not get old. Get double thermal bomb and just have a blast. This weakness in solo play is extremely apparent when you are playing against boss fights with the Pyromancer. I find it to be the most challenging of the classes to solo bosses with. Once you get a build set up and have your gear, it's not such a big deal, but especially for a new player, you're going to really be frustrated with solo play against captains, and particularly Goss can be very challenging. This character also requires a lot of use of cover, I'd say more so than some of the other characters. That's because you don't have free heals right away. You need to confirm kills or use Feed the Flame to get heals, and this makes it become a inherently medium to long range play style. And this is subjective, but that's not my favorite way to play. I just want to play a character that is constantly in the action, and I never have to use cover ever, 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 ever. We will never take cover together. The Pyromancer also will give you a big challenge when your abilities are on cooldown. None of the other classes feel quite so severe, so wildly different when they have abilities versus when they have everything on cooldown. You have your abilities ready to go. You are a deity. No one is going to mess with you. You're ready for whatever comes your way. Your abilities are all on cooldown. It is the polar opposite. You need help, you need friends, you need cover, you need something, because you are completely worthless. Especially go for a max anomaly power glass cannon build. Your weapon damage will not be that strong on its own. The Pyro is also going to struggle with the highest percentage of skills you can miss. You can literally completely whiff on 50% of your skills. Both Heat Wave and Thermal Bomb have 0 aim assist. If you miss, you miss. Tough bro. Looking into the future of the late game skill tree, there are abilities which will buff your firepower based on your anomaly power, so that is exciting, and another reason why I think this character in the late game is going to be absolutely filthy. Some of the skills that we do not have access to yet in the demo, looking at the skill tree, look really cool for the Pyromancer, particularly the Revive Phoenix. It's a skill that's going to be able to revive yourself instantly if you go down with a fairly long cooldown. Also, I cannot wait to see what the volcanic rounds do to the appearance of your gun. My god, all of the skills that alter the appearance of your gun in this game, just art department, you guys are killing it. TLDR, Pyromancer is insanely fun to play. The best combinations in the game, the highest skill floor in the game, potentially the highest skill ceiling as well, but you know what you like. Do you want to be in the fray, or do you want to be a caster? If you know you want to be that caster, that mage class, that DPS, that high damage glass cannon, this is a class for you. It's no question. This is subjective, but I prefer to do it a little bit differently. Number 1, my favorite character, most fun character, the Trickster. If you want a visceral gaming experience, if you want to get up close and personal with your enemies, if you like manipulating time and bending enemies to your will, the Trickster is absolutely the class for you. This character has it all. It takes skill to make it work. You benefit from utilizing strong combinations. You have awesome skills to choose from in the demo, and I think the skill ceiling is only going to grow as this game becomes full release. The Trickster has so many things going for it, from swag to power to difficulty to the play style and the sustain. I love being in on the action. I love being close range. I like having the high damage output as well as the ability to shrug off damage. The Trickster embodies the Outriders mantra of fight to live. All the other characters take this to some degree, but the Trickster kicks it up to 1,000. If you want to live in the Trickster, you are getting into the combat whether you want to or not. Get kills at close range to buff your shields, get kills at close range to buff your damage. It's so much synergy happening with this character, and I cannot hide the joy every single time I play it and see all of the beautiful blues and all of the cool skills. The effect that happens when you use your temporal blade and you literally see x-rays of enemy bones is insanely awesome. From head to toe, this character is just Gucci drip. I'm not 100% sure I used that right. The Trickster receives bonus damage on submachine guns, which are always my favorite weapon class, and also shotguns, which I am a humongous fan of. Those two weapons alone make this character just stand out from the pack. It's also a high skill floor. I would argue that it's very difficult to master the Trickster right away, but you have a lot of room for growth utilizing your abilities in combination with your guns. I wanted to make sure to point out the difference in this graph. You're going to take a look at the PBF. That is my personal boner factor, and it is actually thicker and longer than on any of the other charts. And everyone just unsubscribe. For everyone else who hasn't blocked and reported this channel, let's go into why I think the Trickster's abilities are so cool. If you were to ask me, Maid Bro, what kind of superpowers would you like? It would absolutely be the ability to control time. If there's any question about it, controlling time is the biggest PBF I can think of. What practical application could setting things on fire with your hands be? Besides cooking raw meats, not that dope. How about freezing people? Also not that cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger did it pretty dope in the 90s with Batman. How about the ability to control Earth? Not that type. Can you imagine controlling time? I think I've done a pretty good job expressing myself with the 4 different classes and how much satisfaction I get from playing each and every single one of them. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, I'm a growing channel, very new. Every single like, subscribe, and comment makes me feel... Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope to see you soon. We out.